A fragile quiet has descended upon the Middle East, a silence that many find more unsettling than the clamor of conflict it replaced. Following the unprecedented direct missile exchanges between Israel and Iran in late 2024, a period of de-escalation has left the world holding its breath. The skies over Tel Aviv and Tehran are no longer filled with the threat of imminent attack. Diplomatic channels, though strained, are buzzing with activity behind closed doors. This has led many observers, particularly in the West, to declare the immediate crisis averted. They point to the lack of follow-up strikes and the resumption of a semblance of normalcy as proof that both nations have stepped back from the brink. However, a significant portion of the global community, especially those living within the region, views this lull not as an end, but as a strategic pause. They argue that the core issues driving the conflict remain unresolved and have in fact been exacerbated by the recent violence. For them, the silence is deceptive, a time for both sides to rearm, reassess their strategies, and prepare for the next, potentially more devastating round of hostilities. It is a historical irony that many find difficult to comprehend today, but Israel and Iran were not always enemies. In fact, for a significant period during the mid-20th century, under the rule of the Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, they were close strategic partners. Iran was one of the first Muslim-majority nations to recognize the State of Israel in 1950. Their relationship was built on a foundation of shared interests, primarily a mutual suspicion of Soviet influence and the pan-Arab nationalism championed by leaders like Egypt's Gamal Abdel Nasser. The turning point came with the Islamic Revolution of 1979, an event that fundamentally reshaped the political landscape of the entire Middle East. The overthrow of the Shah and the rise of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini installed a new theocratic regime in Tehran with a radically different worldview. This new leadership rejected the previous alliance and instead cast Israel, referred to as the Little Satan, as an illegitimate entity and a proxy for the United States, the Great Satan. The ideological foundation of the Islamic Republic was deeply anti-Zionist, and this opposition became a core tenet of its foreign policy. The concept of a Greater Israel, or Eretz Yisrael Hashlema in Hebrew, is a deeply controversial and highly debated idea that evokes strong emotions across the political and religious spectrum. Its origins are rooted in certain interpretations of biblical texts, specifically passages in the book of Genesis, where God promises the land to Abraham and his descendants. According to the most expansive interpretation of these verses, the promised territory extends far beyond the current borders of Israel, encompassing all of modern-day Israel, the Palestinian territories, significant parts of Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and even portions of Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. This maximalist territorial claim, however, has never been the official policy of any Israeli government. In the context of the current conflict with Iran and its proxies, the Greater Israel concept has been weaponized by Israel's adversaries. This narrative serves to rally anti-Israel sentiment and justify their own aggressive posture as a necessary defense against a colonial project. Israeli leaders, including the Prime Minister, have consistently framed the conflict in existential terms. A recent statement from the Prime Minister's office on August 10, 2025 declared, "Israel will not tolerate a nuclear-armed Iran, and we reserve the right to defend ourselves by ourselves against any threat." The regime in Tehran is a force for instability, terror, and chaos, and it must be stopped. On the other side, Iranian leadership employs equally potent language, blending revolutionary ideology with nationalist pride. The supreme leader recently addressed a military parade stating, "The Zionist regime is a cancerous tumor that will, by the grace of God, be eradicated at the hands of the Palestinian people and the resistance forces throughout the region. Our missiles are a testament to our self-reliance and our readiness to deliver a crushing response to any aggression." An Israeli government spokesperson stated after the late 2024 strikes, "Iran has crossed a red line, and there will be consequences. We have demonstrated our capability and our will to act directly." In response, an Iranian foreign ministry official declared, "The era of hit-and-run attacks by the Zionist entity is over. Any future aggression will be met with a response that is 10 times more severe." Looking ahead to the remainder of 2025 and beyond, the trajectory of the Israel-Iran conflict rests on a knife's edge, with several plausible scenarios ranging from uneasy stalemate to catastrophic regional war. One possible future involves a continuation of the current status quo, a tense, managed conflict. The most dangerous and frightening future is that of a full-scale regional war, a single miscalculation, a strike that causes mass casualties, the assassination of a high-level leader, or a definitive Israeli conclusion that Iran is on the verge of a nuclear weapon, could trigger a rapid and uncontrollable escalation. The consequences would be devastating. Major cities under missile bombardment, global oil supplies disrupted, and a humanitarian crisis on a scale not seen in the region for generations. The key questions remain unanswered. Will Iran choose to dash for a nuclear weapon, or will it prioritize economic stability? Will Israel decide that a preemptive military strike is its only option, or will it rely on containment and deterrence? For the people of Israel, Iran, and their neighbors, the stakes could not be higher. Their lives and futures hang in the balance, dependent on a complex interplay of strategy, ideology, and the unpredictable nature of human decision-making. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for anyone seeking to comprehend the forces shaping our world today.